All right, we're going back into the case. Rabble, 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 rabble.
Court will now reconvene, Mr. Payne. Please call your witness.
This next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened. The prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand.
Wow, look at her. Damn. She is like the picture of innocence and beauty. Wow. What's with this stiff silence?
In my long career as a judge, I have been deceived by many witnesses. It is my job to doubt. Take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit that you radiate a glow of complete sincerity.
Can't believe he actually said that.
Oh, now then, witness. Could you please state your full name?
Don't worry, sweetie. There's no need to be nervous.
If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size.
And I will bash them with my gavel.
I love how they look straight at me when they say that.
Thank you for calming my nerves. You are all so nice. I almost feel right at home.
Not at all!
It was nothing.
If we may move on now, what is your full name and occupation?
My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence.
Oh, the honor is all mine.
No, the honor is all mine.
Well, we all know whose milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Sir?
Is there something I can help you with?
You just go on and say whatever is on your mind.
I'm sure there must be some kind of mistake. Feeny wouldn't kill anyone, I just know it.
Yes, I can see why you'd say that.
She's going to be a tough witness, all right. It only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little finger.
Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please.
I had been planning to go back to Feeny's place after class was over. Feeny and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. That's when Feeny noticed that I was there. I went to go and find some other students and they called the authorities.
This testimony does not match Phoenix's at all.
I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne, the defendant didn't do anything wrong.
Young lady, as old as I am, even I recall how hot the flames of youth passion can burn. Nevertheless, it is my job to discover the truth. Please tell us the truth.
But I would never.
That's more than enough, witness. I won't allow for this to continue.
What do you mean by that?
Please, just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honor. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies.
Tee-hee. You haven't changed a bit, Mia Fey.
What's this? So you two are acquainted?
Yes. We've met before, once.
In any case, Miss Fey, the floor is all yours.
It's good to see you again, Madam Fey.
Madam? No one's grandma yet, girlie.
I had been planning to go back to Feeny's place after class was over.
Now, unless I'm mistaken, Feeny, Mr. Wright is in the art department. If that's the case, then what were you doing by the pharmacology building?
Well, I'm in the literature department. I'm studying Japanese Senryu poetry.
Oh ho ho! How wonderful! Isn't that the humorous yet satirical style of haiku, yes?
Nothing left to do. When a man reaches this age, sleep is his best friend.
That's supposed to be poetry? That sounds more like a midlife crisis.
For me to get to the art department, I have to walk through the back area.
Ah yes, I see. That makes sense. When I want to enter the courthouse, I always walk through the front doors.
How else would you enter? Teleportation?
Feeney and Dougie, they were talking behind the building.
So who is this Dougie person?
Oh, I'm sorry, Doug Swallow. We were dating up until about 8 months ago.
So what were Mr. Swallow and Mr. Wright talking about anyway?
How can you be so mean? I would never eavesdrop.
I wasn't raised to be so rude and unrefined.
That's right, Miss Faye.
Don't drag the witness down to your level.
Why am I being demonized here?
Please go on. What did you see next?
Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed.
Are you saying that the victim just collapsed on his own?
Yes.
In other words, the defendant never touched the victim, is that right?
I was watching the whole time. Feeney never did a thing to Dougie.
I press her for no good reason. I just know the judge will get angry with me. So what should I do about her testimony just now? Press the shit out of it! Feeble lies are not becoming, Miss Hawthorne, so let's drop them, shall we?
What?
I would never!
Miss Faye, I will not allow you to badger this witness. I believe the defense is engaged in a fishing expedition. That is, she has no supporting, please don't glare at me like that. I'm just doing my job.
Now then, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant's palm print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It has already been shown that Wright did, in fact, push the victim.
What?
There's no need to try to cover for the defendant. It would be much better if you came out and told us the whole truth.
There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything that you saw.
Yes, Your Honor. I will. If you don't mind, I'd like to revise my testimony.
Looks like we're finally getting somewhere.
Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie.
You didn't see it?
Well, I saw the moment when Dougie fell to the ground.
And at that time, there was only 2 of them at the scene? The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and the victim, Doug Swallow?
Yes, that's correct. It didn't look like they were fighting. And I didn't hear any noise either.
Oh, we got the umbrella crack to contradict that. So then, what did it look like they were doing to you?
I thought they were having a nice friendly afternoon conversation.
Oh, give me a break.
That's why I really wasn't watching them all that closely.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all?
No, nothing at all, Mr. Judge.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Mr. Judge. Now then, please proceed with your testimony.
I went to go and find some other students and they called the authorities.
When you say students, do you mean students from the pharmacology department?
Yes, they're all very fond of their drugs.
Please try and stay on topic. So to find some pharmacology students, you went to the labs, correct?
That's what I was planning to do, but in the end I wound up not going. A group of about 10 research students came running out of the building entrance. Somehow they all seemed to know what was going on.
The students knew what was going on? More details, yeah, why not? But how could the students have known what was going on?
Well, I don't know for sure they knew what had happened.
It's just they all seemed kind of excited about something. Doesn't look like I'm gonna get any more info about the students.
So did the students call the police?
Yes. I was just so panicked.
Yes, well, anyone would have been, my dear.
That girl. She's telling a super obvious lie and she knows it. She's just pretending to protect Mr. Wright. Yeah, that's gotta be it. Way to go, Mia. Okay, that means I'm gonna have to deep dig to find the contradiction on this one. I had been playing. Okay, so didn't hear any noise either, but the umbrella made a big crack when it hit the ground. And that we know for a fact. The victim fell on top of the umbrella. There was a loud sound when this happened from Phoenix's testimony. This is a specific piece of evidence.
Objection!
Objection! You say you didn't hear any noise? Is that correct?
Yes, that's why I was very relaxed, looking at the scenery around me.
That's nice, but I find it just a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Wright. And here he clearly testifies to the effect that when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise.
He said that.
If you were really that close to the two of them, why didn't you hear this noise as well?
Well, maybe the noise just wasn't all that memorable.
But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp noise like a snap. There's no way a noise like that could fail to make an impression.
May I have a moment to answer?
By all means.
I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. You see, the truth is, I had my headphones on, and I was listening to music at the time.
Headphones?
You mean that both of your ears were covered?
The rain was just beginning to let up, but it seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to come to an end yet. So the sky continued to flash and rumble.
Thunder and lightning, huh?
Yes, I'm afraid of the sound of thunder, so I put my headphones on to block it out.
Well, Your Honor, as you can see, there wasn't any contradictions in a testimony after all.
Wait a sec, Mia. That testimony just now. She said something that could totally change the whole case. Your Honor, there is a problem with the witness's testimony.
Well, what do you mean?
Didn't you notice? She said there was lightning, correct?
Yes, well, what about it?
Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere, am I right?
Now is not the time for a science lesson, Miss Faye.
Yes, Your Honor. Anyway, the cause of death was electrocution. Isn't it possible that the victim died from being hit by a bolt of lightning?
Oh!
Ah!
Huh?
I must admit that the thought had not occurred to me.
Just what kind of thoughts do occur to this guy anyway? Yeesh. This entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Doug Swallow was murdered. But the very premise itself is mistaken. The defense believes that Mr. Swallow was, in fact, the victim of a stray bolt. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe that. I think it was the electric wire.
It appears the defense may be on to something. Could it be that the death was actually accidental?
All right, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty now. Huh?
I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Faye.
Huh?
I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research. Your Honor, we found that there were no lightning strikes on the day at that location.
What?
What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to the case.
Evidence, Mr. Payne? Well, what is this evidence?
This affidavit,
And who is this affidavit from?
the pharmacology students who were conducting experiments in the labs that day. Allow me to read the testimony of the pharmacology students. All equipment in the labs lost power all of a sudden at around 3 p.m. that day.
Was it a blackout?
All of the lab's equipment runs on high voltage, Your Honor.
So you're saying the equipment lost power because...
Precisely. They lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred at approximately 3 p.m.
Which fits with the time of the death listed in the autopsy.
Exactly. In other words, the victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cable. According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future.
I see.
Apparently, these cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break.
The smallest bump. God. Now this is getting wild. You'd think the university campus would be more at fault for this death at the moment. Considering the cause of death was this brittle cable that happened to break at a slight bump.
However, there's one thing that troubles me. If the cable could have been broken by any small bump, then it wouldn't have been snapped if it had been bumped in, or then it wouldn't have snapped if it had been bumped into, correct?
Well, I suppose you could say that.
Miss Faye, do you have any thoughts regarding the cause of the severed cable?
Yeah, Your Honor? I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try to regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion.
Well then, let's hear it. Who or what was it that caused the cable to break?
I don't see anything else in this that could have been the cause of it. And this is just the time of death. Just cold killer.
Excuse me.
The umbrella submitted as evidence. Phoenix's testimony of the loud snap. I don't know. Any small bump could have caused it to break. Yeah, the girl on the stand is mad suspect to me too. The umbrella's also mad suspect. It's the badge. It's gotta be the attorney's badge. No Phoenix Wright in new Smash feels bad, man. Yeah, but 65 unique characters in the new Smash, so feels good, man. Feels good, dude. It's either the umbrella or it's Doug Swallow himself. When he got up, he could have bumped into the pole, and that could be the only other thing. He could have been disoriented from like bumping into it after standing up. And whatever. I'm gonna go with Doug. This is it. This is why the cable snapped.
Well, Your Honor?
No, I goofed.
I believe that the only thing that is snapped is the mind of the defense.
Ah, that was one of your best lines yet, Your Honor.
Whew, that was harsh. Please, Your Honor, give me one more chance. I like how they don't even take away my health for this case. I can just guess whatever I want. All right, umbrella, let's go. This is it. This is why the cable snapped.
Well, Your Honor?
No, it's not this either. Wow. Both of the things I thought it was. Okay. I don't see anything in this photo that it could have been. It could have been Phoenix, man. It could have been Phoenix. Your Honor, please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony.
The defendant's testimony?
He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happens at around 3 p.m., correct?
Yes, that sounds right. Wait, are you saying that...
The lab equipment lost power at 2:55, which fits right into Mr. Wright's timeline. In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage.
Yes! The prosecution also came to that same conclusion, and it was that very shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted.
I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne.
What's that supposed to mean?
Take a good look as to where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. That's right, the victim banged into that pole as a result of being pushed. It was that impact that caused the cable to break.
Well, that makes sense. And then the victim was electrocuted.
Not quite. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but no, it doesn't make sense at all. If the victim was shoved into the far pole, then he couldn't have been electrocuted by this severed cable in the foreground here. Ah! In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim. Bum bum bum.
Order in the court.
The lamentations of my enemy, how I've longed to hear them.
It's true. The defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any way the defendant could have done it.
Mr. Judge, sir, may I say something? The Madam Attorney's explanation. She said some things that are a little different than I remember at the time.
What the?
Please, just once more. May I please testify one last time?
Please, Mr. Judge.
Of course it's all right. Just go right ahead and give your new testimony.
This is it. She's finally starting to show her true colors.
The truth is, Feeney pushed him twice. The first time was into the electrical pole. That's when the cable broke.
Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him, but Feeney caught up and crashed into him from behind.
The cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted. It all occurred in less than a minute.
Wow, what a dick. She is just putting Phoenix Wright to burn right now.
So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away?
And that is when the defendant pushed him for the second time?
I'm so sorry, Feeney, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge?
Of course you are, my dear. As painful as it may seem, you are. Now then, Miss Fay, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
What I witnessed, part 2. Alright, the truth is, Feeney pushed him twice. Miss Hawthorne, previously in your testimony, you said the following. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie.
I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to protect Feeney.
So that's why you basically lied to the court?
I was a bad girl.
I know. Mr. Judge,
Yes?
would you please forgive little old me? Of course he won't. What you did is called perjury.
Oh, come now. It was just a little old white lie. We'll forget it this time, but please, be more careful from now on, alright?
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Judge.
Not at all.
Ooh, the judge had better be more careful himself. A dark alley is friendlier than that girl.
The first time into the electrical pole, that's when the cable broke.
You're saying you actually saw the victim get pushed into the electrical pole?
I know he doesn't look like it, but Feeney can be a bit of an imp when he wants to be.
Oh, really?
But I never imagined that he would cause an electrical cable to break. Feeney really is scary when he gets mad.
Yeah, he sounds like a very dangerous individual.
Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him.
So let me get this straight. You were happily listening to music on your headphones while you watched this scene unfold?
Miss Fay, I'll have to ask you to stop badgering the witness.
I wasn't happy. I was so scarred that I couldn't even move. All I could do was stand there and cheer him on.
Cheer them on? What do you mean by that?
Well, I wished the best for them both, and they would both each give the fight their all.
That's very sweet of you to be so supportive.
And And what happened after that?
But Feeney caught up and crashed into him from behind.
That doesn't sound quite right. There were handprints found on the chest of the victim's leather jacket. Mr. Payne, were there also prints found on the back of his leather jacket?
Well, no, there weren't.
Madam Faye, may I suggest you listen a little more carefully? I said that he crashed into him from behind, right? My Feeney wouldn't leave any prints behind in this case, would he?
Ugh.
The cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted. It all occurred in less than a minute.
Did you actually witness the moment the victim was electrocuted?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't actually see it. I turned my eyes away.
That's understandable.
Yes, indeed. It would have been a horrific sight for anyone to behold.
If I don't figure out the contradiction here, it's all over. She didn't have much time to come up with her lies, so this is my best chance. There must be a hole in her testimony somewhere. Think, Mia. Think! Okay, the suspicious part is all in less than a minute. We have the time of death being... Oh, sorry. We have Phoenix testified to the meetup time being 2:45. The watch clearly shows at least past 3. Like, that might not be 3:05, but that's at least like 3:03. But it's a watch, so it could be off compared to these other clocks. But in all that, this even states, or sorry, the electric power went out at 2:55. At 2:55 on the afternoon. So there's a mismatch between the information on this student's testimony and this watch. The time of death is at least 7 minutes apart from the time on the watch. At least, at the bare minimum. So it's very possible that the cable snapped but didn't fall yet when Phoenix bumped into him, and then when he was picking up the cold Killer X he saw on the ground, maybe that's when the wire snaps, falls, kills him. I think I'm going to present the student's testimony, or I'm going to present the crime photo number 2. Yeah. I'm going to present... Do the profiles say anything? No, nothing. I wish I had something that said when the meeting time was. I'm gonna go with this, the newspaper clipping. I think that's my bet. Or sorry, no, the student's testimony. That's my best bet. Objection! That's enough, witness.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this picture?
Oh, that's medicine. That's the one Feeney likes to take for his cold.
It's not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped at the precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words, 3:05 p.m.
Yes, and your point is, Miss Faye?
My point is this! What time was it when the lab suffered the power outage due to the cable snapping?
Well, according to the student's testimony, the answer is clear. It was 2:55. Yeah!
Would you care to explain to the court, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne, what exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? The defense proposes that it was during this interval that the real murderer killed Mr. Doug Swallow.
Order in this court! What is this all about?
This is nonsense! The real murderer?
Even you can't deny that the time between the cable breaking and the electrocution are completely unaccounted for.
Then who was it? Who are you saying could have done it?
There's only one person who could have murdered Mr. Swallow. Only after my client had left the scene was there a window of opportunity for the real killer.
Miss Faye, is the defense ready to indict someone as this real killer?
It's finally time. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, Your Honor, we are ready.
Very well, but remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you will be penalized. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Faye. Now then, Miss Faye, let's have it. Who is the real killer?
Duh. It could only have been you, Dahlia Hawthorne.
What? How could you? The defense is grasping at straws.
10 minutes passed between the time the cable broke and the time of electrocution. What exactly were you doing the whole time, Miss Hawthorne? Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find it hard to believe that you didn't lift a finger to stop the men dearest to you.
Order! Order! Miss Faye. What the? I mean, why? That is to say...
Miss Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting that day. However, after Mr. Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallow to death by your very own hands.
Ah!
How could you say something so mean, Madame Faye? I didn't do anything.
Miss Faye, this is a very serious charge you are...
I know that noise. Your Honor, please, I have something I want to say.
You? What is it?
Please strike everything the defense said just now from the record. What the? Are you daft? You're totally wrong, Miss Faye. Dolly, well, she couldn't do something like that.
Mr. Wright, get back in your seat. Bailiff, grab that man.
Achoo! Leave my Dolly alone. My Dolly.
That's...
Boy, he's gotten himself in way over his head.
Whoa, Mr. Grossberg, you're back.
It seems I've arrived just in the nick of time. I found the police report on that incident in your newspaper clipping.
All right, what do we got? Thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for. A report on the incident 8 months ago. Touch the check button for details. Location, District Courtroom Cafeteria. Date, time, August 27th, 4 p.m. Victim, Diego Armando, 28. Occupation, lawyer. Suspect, Dahlia Hawthorne, age 19. Armando ingested poison while interviewing the suspect regarding another case. Traces of poison were found in the victim's coffee cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or on the suspect's person. It is unclear how the poison entered the victim's cup. Interesting.
You'd better take a good look at it. It, details how you came to lose your boyfriend.
Whoa! New drama!
Now then, the defense has made a very serious accusation. Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this?
Well, really, Your Honor,
May I interrupt you for just a moment, Mr. Prosecutor?
Don't you worry, my dear. I have this situation well in hand. Go right ahead.
Madame Faye, are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie?
Yes, I am. Not only am I saying you murdered Doug Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Phoenix Wright.
I told you that you should let me handle this. Sorry, please, go ahead.
How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Feeny. The notion that I would try to frame him is ludicrous.
This is all just too much for little me to bear.
I believe that girl is trying to ask what on earth her motive would be.
The answer to that lies somewhere in the police report. It must. 8 months ago, an incident occurred in the basement cafeteria of this building. And then, well, the same day the two of them accidentally meet. Your Honor, the defense requests further testimony from Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Further testimony? What about?
About the events of the day when she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What could that possibly have to do with this case?
Oh! Oh! The bottle had the poison in it! Oh!
The witness claims that she had no reason to frame the defendant. Am I correct? Well, I have evidence that suggests that she, in fact, had a very good reason.
Very well then. The court grants the defense's request. Young lady, would you mind staying on for just a bit longer?
Of course not, Mr. Judge.
Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne. How I Met My Feeny. Oh, it's gonna be a 10 season long story about telling stories of you and your buddies. And then in the last episode, you meet him.
I first met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse. In this very courthouse's basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. We've been going out ever since that fateful day.
We're so... Oh, this is Phoenix. We're so lovey-wovey. We literally make people sick. Just jealousy, I think.
Mr. Wright, do that again and I'll have you held in contempt of court.
Now we enter the final act of our little drama.
As we used to say in the days of my youth, go get her.
We got this. We got this, dude. We got this. It's like we were destined to be... Okay, I gotta press on everything, I think. So until that time, you had been dating Doug Swallow?
Yes, I'm a real fool, I know. Letting my emotions change so quickly, I'm ashamed of myself.
No, not at all. Look at me, I'm infamous for changing my mind. My critics have even taken to calling me Judge Fickle. Ho ho ho!
Maybe you should look for a different line of work.
Despite that, however, he always hands down the correct verdict. That's why some people also call him the Great Judgini.
It's like we were designed to meet in the very courthouse basement reading room.
The courthouse reading room? It's a strange place to meet the love of your life.
That's not true, Madame Faye. After all, Feeny was not only an art student, but he's planning on becoming a lawyer.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you, Miss Hawthorne. What was a literature student like you doing in the courthouse reading room?
This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case.
Miss Faye, I'm warning you. This has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case.
I have to remember the judge is on Dahlia's side. I better tread carefully. Keep pressing. Heck careful. Your Honor, if you would allow me some latitude, I think I can establish relevance. Please ask her to continue on with her testimony.
Very well. Young lady, I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing downstairs in the courthouse reading room?
If it pleases Your Honor, the answer is simply this. I had come to this courthouse to do some research for a paper I was writing.
You were writing a paper? On what?
On the relationship between modern Senryu poetry and the criminal underworld.
Whoa, that sounds like a fascinating research idea.
Am I getting old? Now I've even forgotten what I've forgotten.
Again with the midlife crisis stuff.
Mia, why did that girl really come to this courthouse? Isn't that what you wanted to know? And speaking of forgetting, you haven't forgotten that police report, have you? I went through a lot of trouble to get it, my dear, so be sure to read it carefully.
The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat.
Yeah, Phoenix was framed, Y-dubs. So what was it about Mr. Wright that made your heart malfunction like that? In my personal opinion, he looks like a typical snotty-nosed college brat.
Perhaps to a woman your age, but to me, Feeny is handsome.
Perhaps to you, Miss Hawthorne, But to the rest of the planet, he's a dime a dozen.
Love is a mysterious thing, and I object to this line of questioning. If you were to look at my wife, for example, you might all be shocked.
He's telling the truth. It was truly, truly shocking.
Beautiful mushroom, growing tall in the darkness. It comes from cow dung. That's the poem that best describes how I feel about my Feeny. We've been going out ever since that fateful day.
All right, let's take a look at this police report. So, District Courthouse Cafeteria, August 27th, for Diego Armando, age 27, lawyer, suspect Dahlia Hawthorne. Armando ingested poison while interviewing the suspect regarding another case. Traces of poison were found in the victim's coffee cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or on the suspect's person. It is unclear how the poison entered the victim's coffee cup. And then this, very little information is disclosed at the time since the victim of yesterday's incident is in the district courthouse cafeteria. It is said to have been a lawyer. However, police are questioning the 19-year-old female college student who was sitting with the victim. That's it. I could present the newspaper clipping. This probably won't work. Should have done it. The witness's testimony is, why not the report? I don't know if it's the report exactly. I haven't linked the poison to her just yet. I gotta get the necklace involved first, or the poison involved in the necklace, but I don't know if the report necessarily does. I feel like both of those pieces of evidence do the same thing. The report says okay, so here's my logic, guys. Hold on. Let me go and show you guys exactly what I mean. The newspaper clipping states that she was there on the murder in the courthouse, right? The report isn't a report involving the case of the report isn't involving the case that was being discussed on August 27th. The report is of the murder that happened in the case, like that happened to Mr. whatever who was murdered in this police report, Diego Armando. So this report is regarding that and not the fact that she wasn't a suspect in the case that was being investigated that day. At least I don't think it is. Okay, hold on. Maybe it is though. I guess I'll try it. See if it works.
Objection!
All right. Miss Hawthorne, you weren't here because of your research, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason?
What is the meaning of that cocky smile on your face, Miss Fay?
8 months ago, right here in this very courtroom, there was another tragedy.
Another tragedy?
Do you mean the incident in which an attorney was poisoned?
The name of the suspect in that incident is listed here in the report. And that name is Dahlia Hawthorne.
What? Dahlia Hawthorne?
Yeah, the sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in the criminal case just 8 months ago.
Order, order, order! This is unbelievable. It's true that the lovely... I didn't get to read all that.
Miss Fay, that's not fair. You can't slander my witness with an unrelated case. I, Winston Payne, will not allow it.
Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking.
Pardon me, go right ahead.
It's true that about 8 months ago, the police expressed some interest in me.
Expressed some interest, huh?
Mr. Judge, sir, I know I'm under oath, so I'll tell you the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during that incident 8 months ago.
I see.
Okay, I've tied the two crimes together. Now I've just got to stay on the offensive.
Well done, Mia. Oh, you really hit a fire in my heart and my buttocks. I can hardly tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my hemorrhoids.
I hate this guy.
I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is lethal at just 2 teaspoons. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that.
So that's what happened here 8 months ago.
However, as you've heard from the witness, she had nothing to do with it. I think the defense is just about out of tricks.
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Payne, but I'm afraid the defense has more tricks up its sleeve today, and I'll be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination.
What the? Why does the defense suddenly feel stronger?
Mia, you're glowing with a lawyer's aura, my dear. That proud posture and self-confidence absolutely smashing.
The poisoning.
I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day.
What were you talking about with the defense attorney?
Well, I'm sorry, but that's confidential.
According to the report, you were being interviewed regarding another case.
The lawyer that was killed, he said he wanted to talk about an incident I was caught up in when I was younger.
Why don't you tell us about the incident, what that incident was?
This has absolutely nothing to do with this case.
Objection sustained. The defense's question is stricken from the record.
You get involved a lot with incidents, don't you, Miss Hawthorne?
Well, I guess I was just born under a bad sign.
Don't worry, Dolly, I'll protect you!
You heard the man. Now that is true love, young lady.
Oh, Phoenix, please. Ugh, those two really are making me ill, albeit for decidedly different reasons.
I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened.
How long were you gone?
I've already answered all these questions for the police, but if you must know, maybe 10, 20 minutes?
And where were you during that stretch of time? Using the toilet? What are you saying, Miss Faye?
Toilet?
Toilet? My perfect little Dolly doesn't poop.
You heard the defendant, Miss Faye. Better luck next time.
Oh, Phoenix, please.
The police have already looked into the whole matter. This line of questioning is nothing but a waste of the court's time.
Objection sustained. Miss Hawthorne, please continue with your testimony.
From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is lethal at just 2 teaspoons.
Excuse me. About how much liquid is 2 teaspoons?
Well, let me see. My bottle of eye drops says 1/2 fluid ounce, which is equal to 3 teaspoons.
So it's about 2/3 that amount, huh?
The poison was found in the lawyer's mug of coffee. It might have been after I left the table. Someone must have quietly slipped it in there. Not only that, but I heard it was a very special kind of poison.
Yeah, 2 teaspoons seems like a lot for a poison, I agree. A special kind of poison, how so?
Well, I heard that it's almost impossible to detect.
Oh, and where would something like that come from?
I'm sorry. All I know is what I overheard the policeman saying. They said something about advanced chemical processing to purify it.
Chemical processing? Well, that's quite impressive. Most impressive.
Better question is, how did the criminal get something like that? Maybe the girl who was dating a pharmaceutical researcher. I don't know, guys. I think you knew where to get poison like that. And that's the reason they didn't arrest you? Because no one could show how you could have gotten the poison?
I think that's a good enough reason, Madame Faye.
She's right. And I think we've all had enough of Miss Faye's questions.
So in essence, the main reason Miss Hawthorne was never arrested for this crime was because no one could show how she could have obtained the poison.
Then all we have to do is establish how she could have gotten some, right? Great. Now just how did a lit student get a hold of poison of all things? I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I'm gonna present him.
Objection!
You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison. I don't believe you. What? In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab.
Boyfriend? You mean the victim, Doug Swallow?
That's right. Up until 8 months ago, Miss Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. And if you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was a pharmacology student at Ivy University.
Pharmacology?
His laboratory contained highly advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could never have obtained such rare and special poison. Well, Miss Hawthorne, it seems you had access to such a poison after all. And then it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done that was the one sitting with him at his very table. You! No!
Order! 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 Could it be?
That's nothing but a...
May I say something, Madame Faye?
What is it, Miss Hawthorne?
The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some kind of container.
Well, yes, that's true.
I was searched immediately after the incident took place.
Quite true. In fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down.
But they didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they?
She's right. They even mentioned that in the report. Well, you could have easily gotten rid of that somehow.
Excuse me, madam, but this is a court of law. If you're saying I threw the poison container away, then I think you need to show some kind of proof.
Proof? What? Me?
Provide some evidence or I'll have to disallow this line of questioning, Miss Faye. Unless we can come up with some evidence, we're gonna lose this lead.
The police conducted a full-body search of Dahlia and the entire courthouse, and yet the container holding the poison disappeared right after the crime occurred.
If you're going to accuse the young lady of committing murder, then where is the container the poison was carried in? What happened to it?
Right here, dude. You were forced to get rid of this container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone that had nothing to do with this case. Someone that you knew wouldn't be searched.
Who was this person?
Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course.
So the defendant was the witness's accomplice?
Of course not. She gave the poison to him disguised as a present.
What? But that's...
That's a charming little necklace. Is this a little bottle? It really is quite cute. So, what about it? What does it mean, Miss Faye?
The day the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago, August 27th, the very same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, the witness gave my client a present. All for the purpose of hiding the one piece of evidence that would give her away.
Nani? Are you saying there's deadly poison in here?
No, there's no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain that if the crime lab were to analyze it, they would find a trace amount.
No!
Order! Order in the court!
On behalf of Dolly, I object!
Mr. Wright, control yourself!
I won't let you bully her like this.
Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat.
Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her? Why? But because I'm madly in love with her.
Madly in love. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time.
Mr. Wright, you ever thought about this? Why exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyway? Oof! Savage! Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me too. Mr. Wright, please open your eyes. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason that Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is because of that necklace. Dahlia Hawthorne was not and is not madly in love with you. The only thing she's after is that bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck. My necklace? Back there in the waiting room, you said it yourself. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now.
What a strange girl asking for a present back like that.
For Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace has irrefutable evidence of her crime. That's why she absolutely had to get it back. You're lying, but you never gave it back to her. And to make things worse for her, you insisted on showing it to everyone you met. That's why she... I don't believe you. No! That's a lie! Ugh! What? Mia, are you alright?
Ah, the defendant! He's getting away! Bailiff, hurry after him!
What's happening?
Mia! Mia, are you alright?
Yes, I think so.
That boy, he went completely insane!
Wait, where's Mr. Wright? Looks like the bailiff caught him, so he should be brought back here soon. Thank goodness. Oh no!
What is it?
The bottle necklace. Miss Hawthorne's present. It's gone.
What? That's terrible!
Mr. Wright must have grabbed it when he slammed into me.
Foolish boy. That's the only thing that could have saved him. What in the blazes are we supposed to do now?
Rough spot we're in.
Mr. Wright, this sort of behavior is unprecedented in the history of this court.
I'm sorry.
I'm afraid that your apology is not enough.
Mr. Wright, what did you do with the bottle necklace? Forgive me. I'm sorry. It's okay. Just give back the necklace. I ate it.
You what? You ate it?
It was too big to swallow, so I had to chew it into little bits first, but yeah.
What is he doing now?
Your Honor, you've got to stop the trial. Mr. Wright, are you feeling okay? Does your stomach hurt? That bottle you swallowed may still have had some poison in it.
It seems the defendant has proven the prosecution's case for us. Clearly that bottle did not contain a deadly poison.
How can you be so sure?
I think that's obvious. As you can see, the defendant is still very much alive. As for the poison, more like a fledgling defense attorney's overactive imagination.
He would have needed 2 teaspoons, okay?
So it would seem.
No, there must be some mistake. The bottle must not have had any poison left in it. Either that or the poison lost its potency.
There. It's all right, rookie. Trusting your client is the most noble thing a defense attorney can do. And it's heartwarming to see you've placed this much faith in Mr. Wright. But that is how it is for us on the prosecution side, too. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life, which is why I can state that your assessment of her is completely wrong.
That's enough. Unfortunately, Miss Faye, I cannot accept your explanation of the events.
But why?
This may be impossible for a beginner like you to understand, but in a court of law, evidence is everything.
Ugh! Even though I'd proven so much, is she just going to get away with everything?
Well now that the suspicion of surrounding Miss Hawthorne has been cleared up, I would like to proceed with the trial.
Feeny boy! Mr. Wright! I'm sorry, Miss Faye. It totally slipped my mind. I'm really sorry. I know you believed in me, and I feel like I really let you down. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to say? There's something I forgot to tell you.
What is it?
That day, the day I met Doug Swallow. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Last night, someone stole some poison from our lab. She was gonna do it again? Poison? The same thing that happened 8 months ago. A drug sample was stolen. She came to the lab that time, too. It could only have been her. That girl is a thief. Stop it! Don't talk about her like that! Is it true? Did he really say that?
That's ridiculous!
There's one more thing. After I pushed him that day, I got worried and came back to have a look. And she was there! Dolly was right there. She was crouched down next to him. What? She told me not to ever tell anyone about it, but... I'm sorry, Dolly.
Your Honor, the defendant is...
Miss Faye, you tell them! Dolly didn't do it! She's innocent! So Dahlia stole poison 8 months ago too, huh? If you put that together with Wright's testimony, then there's only one possible conclusion. The defense believes that Miss Dahlia Hawthorne stole some poison on the night before she killed Doug Swallow.
The night before?
Naturally, her motive for stealing it was to kill someone. Miss Faye.
If you're so certain of this theory, then let me ask you this.
Yeah, this is your last chance. Think carefully now. There's something that she desperately wanted to get back. Therefore...
Exactly who was Miss Dahlia Hawthorne planning to kill?
There was one person that was standing squarely in Miss Dahlia Hawthorne's way, and that person was Mr. Phoenix Wright. Me?
That's preposterous! After all, it was Doug Swallow that was murdered.
Well, it's true that that's how things worked out. But let's remember that Mr. Swallow died of electrocution, not poison. The person that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison was, in fact, you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. There's no one else that it could have been.
But how can that be? I thought Mr. Wright and Miss Hawthorne were in love.
Poor Mr. Wright, this must be killing him. Hang in there. I'll bring her to justice, I swear it. As I said before, the only thing Miss Hawthorne truly cared about, the one piece of evidence linking her to that incident 8 months ago. That's right, the bottle necklace. That's all she cared about.
But even so, why? Why would she go so far as to murder him?
8 months ago, just after the fall of that attorney in the basement's cafeteria, Dahlia Hawthorne could think of only one thing: how to get rid of the bottle necklace as quickly as possible. No, it can't be. It was a pretty good move she made, too. The evidence was missing for a long time, but there was just one big problem. Although she got him to hide the evidence, Mr. Wright refused to return it to her. To him, The tiny little bottle was a cherished treasure. He even showed it to everyone he met.
You mean that's why she tried to kill Mr. Wright?
Correct, Your Honor. It was to retrieve that piece of evidence. That can't be true! Feeny. What a joke you are. Honestly, how can any woman ever count on you for anything? I even told you time and time again to keep your trap shut about me and that necklace. You disgust me.
Miss Hawthorne?
It appears that this trial will be coming to an end soon. Fine. I can tell you plan on making me into a criminal no matter what I say. You are a criminal, Miss Hawthorne. We'll see about that. But first, where's your evidence? It seems your sniveling little crybaby of a client had even eaten the bottle as a snack. Ugh. Well, hey, old man, are you senile or something? Why don't you say something instead of sitting there with that dumb look on your face?
Miss Hawthorne, what's happened to you?
Are you really that shocked? Or do you prefer me this way, Mr. Judge?
Ugh.
With absolutely no proof. You treat a voluntary witness like she's a mass murderer. Well, I have nothing more to say. I'll be heading home now if you don't mind.
But you're not finished.
Fine. Then ask this nasty old hag to finish up already. I can't let her get away this time.
Stop, Mia. If you keep on pushing without any evidence, you could pay the ultimate price as a lawyer.
Ultimate price? You'd be forced to take off your
You'd be forced to take off your attorney's badge forever, I'm afraid.
No. You'd better think it over carefully, Miss Faye. Or should I say, Miss Gray? Good one?
Well, Miss Faye, can you provide evidence that would establish her guilt once and for all?
If I mess up here, my career as a lawyer is over? To be honest, at this point, I don't have any evidence that's well-founded. Even so, I'd rather lose my attorney's badge than let her get away with murder. Your Honor, the defense would like to present proof. Impossible! You can't possibly! Stupid woman.
It is the opinion of the court that there has already been enough discussion. Therefore, I will allow only one piece of evidence to be shown.
Just one?
If you are unable to establish her guilt, then I am afraid that a very harsh verdict will be immediately handed down on Mr. Wright.
I understand, Your Honor. Mr. Wright is so clearly not guilty, though. I can just imagine the headlines for tomorrow's newspaper. Up-and-coming lawyer plummets to earth before she gets the chance to soar. She was planning to poison Mr. Wright. If that's the case, then the poison was probably in there.
Well then, Miss Faye, please present your evidence. Show to this court irrefutable proof that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison Mr. Wright.
It's gotta be in the Cold Killer. It's gotta be in the Cold Killer X. That's the only place she could have put the poison. Nothing says it has to be a liquid, right? She could have put it into a capsule. That's my only idea here, because the poison... Irrefutable proof on that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison Mr. Wright. Date and time of death of Doug's autopsy, no. Crime photo number 1, no. Crime photo number 2, not likely. Cold Killer X, most likely. Umbrella, not poisonous. Phoenix's testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella, not something that could have poisoned him. This, nothing. Let's check this real quick. Traces of poison were found in the victim's coffee cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or on the suspect's person. It is unclear how the poison entered the victim's coffee cup. I'm playing it safe, though, guys. I'm playing it safe. Call me names, call me Cheatin' Bob if you like, but I'm playing it safe. Let's go. It's gotta be the Cold Killer X. There's no way it's anything else. She had to have slipped the poison into the Cold Killer X. This is it. Here it is, Your Honor. The evidence that will prove her guilt once and for all.
Cold Killer X? Phoenix Wright's beloved cold medication?
Does our rookie defense attorney have a bit of a cold?
If I did, I still wouldn't take this cold medicine. After all, it's been poisoned.
What?
Remember what the defendant said in his testimony. But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime the day of the accident, and he has lunch with her every day. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. She was the one who took his bottle of Cold Killer X. Then, she poisoned it, knowing that Mr. Wright was going to take some.
Now you're really grasping at straws. After all, it was the victim, Doug Swallow, that was holding the medicine.
I would like the court to recall that the crime happened here 8 months ago. Where did Miss Hawthorne hide the evidence? Huh?
What are you talking about?
8 months ago, the poison was hidden in her bottle necklace, which she then gave to someone else for safekeeping. Someone she had accidentally run into in the reading room. My client, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yes, that's right. She did the same thing this time as well. After shoving the victim, Mr. Phoenix Wright left the scene of the crime. It is then when the murderer, Dahlia Hawthorne, appeared. With her, she was carrying the poisoned bottle of Cold Killer X. This, of course, was so she could carry out her plan to murder Mr. Phoenix Wright.
I believe she did testify that she was going to meet with the defendant.
Yes, and she heard and saw everything that happened at the scene of the crime, including what the defendant and victim were arguing about, and the cut electrical cable. That's when she realized, I can't allow Doug Swallow to live. She used the severed electrical cable to silence him forever. Unfortunately for her, that is when the problem occurred. Mr. Wright, who she thought had left the scene, came back to check on the victim. And on top of that, because of the power outage, some of the students showed up as well. It's hardly any wonder that she was, as she put it, in a state of panic. Recall that she was carrying the bottle of poisoned cold medicine, yes? She must have thought, what if they search me like they did 8 months ago?
8 months ago?
Yes, she disposed of the evidence exactly the same way as she did back then. She had someone else hold it. In this case, Doug Swallow. Oh, come on now. Everyone, surely you aren't fooled, are you? This stupid woman. She's nothing but a filthy, stinking liar. Right, Mr. Prosecutor?
Huh? Yes, that is exactly right. It's just pure desperation.
I wonder which one of us is the desperate one. So, Miss Hawthorne, this cold medicine, I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking some. Huh? Well, Mr. Wright ate that necklace of yours, right? Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. What do you say? If I'm just a filthy, stinking liar, then there's no need to worry. So come on! Show us! I dare you to take some of this medicine right now.
Mia Fey! Mia Fey!
Do you think you've won? Well, do you, Mia Fey? That's just fine. For the time being, victory is yours. For the time being? Well, I have a very long memory, you know. You and I will meet again, I'm certain of it. Well then, Mr. Judge, I'll see you later too, okay?
Huh? Wait, what? Yes?
I'm going to spend a little quality time with the men in blue now. I wish you all the best. Woo! It's finally all over.
I refuse to accept this. The defense hasn't shown a scrap of evidence to support this outrageous claim.
But even so, your witness seems to have accepted it.
I don't care. I'm Winston Payne, and I don't believe one word that this rookie lawyer has said.
Well then, Mr. Payne, let me ask you this.
Yes?
Would you care to try this cold medicine?
What?
Just a little earlier, I could have sworn you said...
There. It's all right, rookie. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life.
So, if she's so trustworthy, then I'm sure there couldn't possibly be any poison in here, right? And here comes the backpedal. Come on now, rookie killer. Show this rookie how it's done. How much trust do you really have for this woman? Are you willing to bet your life?
Yeah, my hair! It's flying off! My beautiful hair!
And there's the true backstory of Case 1, Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations. He loses his hair like that.
Mr. Payne? About Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll file papers for her immediate arrest.
Tragic, but not surprising. I knew there was something suspicious about her from the very beginning.
Don't lie, just admit you were wrong.
By the way, Miss Faye,
Yes, Your Honor?
you said earlier that you and Dahlia Hawthorne knew each other?
Your Honor, how we knew each other had nothing to do with this case.
Very well. Mr. Payne,
This can't be happening. It's a nightmare. It's like losing to my daughter.
it appears Mr. Payne has lost his spirit along with his hair. Does the defendant have anything further to say?
It can't be true. My dear Dolly! Ah.
Very well then. I believe I am ready to pass judgment and bring the trial to an end.
Let me see your moist jails in the chat.
The court finds the defendant, Phoenix Wright, not guilty. The court is adjourned.
Beautiful. 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 Beautiful.
Mia, you were wonderful in there.
Thank you for everything, Mr. Grossberg.
During the verdict, I thought my hemorrhoid...
Oh, God, I hate this guy. Mr. Grossberg, do you maybe think you could stop talking about them?
That's rather rude. Anyway, this case really made me think. What does it really mean to have a relationship of mutual trust with a client? Perhaps it is we, the veteran lawyers, who have lost sight of this.
Oh, Mr. Wright, congratulations. Thanks. You know, I was thinking. Go on. The dolly that I saw up there on the witness stand. I don't think that was really her. What? Yeah. The dolly I know could never have said those kinds of terrible things. Maybe she was like, I don't know, a fake or something? Boy, this poor kid still hasn't got a clue. You need to forget about her, Mr. Wright, for your own sake. Yeah, you're right. It's probably for the best. Also, you need to relax a bit more. Try to grow up a little. But out of all my friends, everyone says I'm the most grown up. What kind of company must this guy keep? Right now, I'm studying to become a lawyer myself. That's what you keep saying, but I thought you were in the art department. Well, yeah, I guess I am, but there's a friend that I desperately want to help, and if I hurry, then I should still be able to save him in time. I see. Say, Miss Faye, a lawyer is someone who can help people when they're in trouble, right? Mr. Wright, I'm still new at this myself, but I think that's exactly what a lawyer is. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to study my butt off and I'll become a lawyer for sure. That's my hope. I hope we see each other again someday. Maybe even in court. How nice. It's been 5 years since I was acquitted of all charges. I became a lawyer like I planned, and I managed to save my friend. Mia has passed on to a better place. For me, this trial brings up a lot of painful memories. But it also brings up some very precious ones. And memories that I thought would never rise to the surface again. Mia's gone now, but even so, I can hear her in my mind. Phoenix, no matter what, always believe in your client. In a court of law, your greatest weapon is belief. 5 long years, something has happened that made me think back to her words of wisdom. That is a story for another day. Yo, Phoenix Wright number 3 is off to an amazing start. I am so satisfied with that first case.